YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2, and you all enjoyed the Suebi footage so much, it seemed like, that I figured, you know what, I'd just go ahead and make this underdog week. I'll play as underdog factions for the remainder of the week, and try and bring you plenty of footage. There won't be any Athens campaign today, I do apologize. I just had these replays and wanted to focus on them, so I've covered Suebi, which is a nice underdog faction. And I think from there, you'll see me move on. And today, our underdog faction, well, I say today, for this particular battle, is going to be the Odrysian Kingdom. The once mighty noble spam armies, now reduced to a pretty weak faction in general. The nobles are still very strong units, but they are easily destroyed by missiles. There was kind of some fallacy going around at one point that these guys are destroyed by cavalry, and that couldn't be further from the truth. These guys wreck cavalry. Because they have a very nice bonus versus it. That on top of enormous attack. So, I come up as the Odrysian Kingdom against Rome. And, funny enough, I mention him all the time. And he's not paying me to promote him, I promise. But it's just funny because it's relevant here. So, Maximus mentioned that a lot of these maps are unbalanced. And, sure enough, I was not paying attention to the map during the army selection, and I was like, piece of dog crap, I get stuck with this. So I was already going to be facing Rome with the Odrysian Kingdom, which I was less than thrilled about, because Rome has lots of nice tools. Obviously they're not the most powerful faction out there right now, but I definitely feel like they're stronger than the Odrysian Kingdom. And the map is not doing me any favors. Rome has a hill advantage, they have forest, everything they need basically to counter everything that's important to me. Sure enough, my phone would start ringing while I'm recording, but obviously not going to answer that just at this moment. So anyway, my army. I have 4 Thracian nobles hidden way back here in the forest. In fact, it might be easier for me to do this from the above view, and trust me, you're not going to miss anything. This is a very long battle, as you might have seen from the timer. I've got 3 Thracian warriors, so 7 infantry in total, which is extremely risky in my mind. And I'm breaking one of the cardinal rules that I have for myself, which is I have 6 foot skirmishers. I typically never bring more than 4 because they're so hard to protect. And then I've got this mercenary Dacian spears just because it was leftover money. And I've got a Thracian royal cav for my general, 2 Thracian cav, which are skirmishers, and 2 Thracian horsemen. So my idea here is I want to annoy the living daylights out of my opponent with my Thracian slingers, and I'm going to split them into 2 groups to face his 3 Balearic slingers. So again, Rome has the tools that it needs. It's got auxiliary Syrian archers, it's got Balearic slingers. They have the tools to really give Thrace, or in this case, Odrysian Kingdom, some serious nightmares. So the Roman army is slightly varied composition, but pretty standard. Well, I say pretty standard. Huge infantry corps, which is to be expected with Rome. And so you've got 3 Balearic slingers and the infantry corps, legionaries. Let's see, more legionaries. I think there's one there. He's got an eagle cohort. Or no, never mind. I'm thinking of a different battle. I think he has all legionaries. So that would be 10 legionaries, 3 velites. I think he has 3 succi equites. Yep, here they are. And a general and bodyguard. Not sure why people go for the general and bodyguard rather than just legatus. Saves you a little bit of money. But again, as you can see from the timer, this is going to be very drawn out. And I really don't know how I'm going to beat this Roman army. I do know that I don't like what the map's given me, because again, if you come down here, relatively flat, but if I were to have gone after the Roman straightway, he would have had this hill advantage right here, and his Balearic slingers have all these different forests to choose from to fire out of, which would make them nigh invincible to my weaker slingers. So what I'm going to do is keep my slingers near the forest, keep them always near cavalry, and you're going to notice during this battle that my opponent is not near as aggressive towards my slingers as I thought he would be. But at the same time, again, I'm trying to be extraordinarily annoying. Oh, so pretty. And this weather looks about as warm as it is outside right here, right now, which I think is about 12 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty miserable, though without the snow, thankfully. So, yeah, anyway, my Thracian horsemen are going to be a general nuisance here and basically just chase his cav off. These guys can be quite effective at getting melee cav out of the way, or at least keeping them away from where you don't want them. So that is what those guys are going to be busy doing. And then as far as what else I'm doing, I'm just trying to creep up, keep my guys protected. So see, I'm keeping my Thracian horsemen around. My slingers, I'm trying to keep them in the edge of the woods. Up here, I had to pull back because my opponent tried to engage me with his Balearics. and so I pulled off of that engagement. But I had started firing at his legionaries and managed to kill 6 of them. So what I'm really hoping to do here, my main goal is to break the Roman up. Now already I think he's making a mistake. There's no reason to face the Odrysian kingdom in one long line. That's a mistake. And to be quite honest, if I just brought my infantry out and went head to head with these units over here, I could easily just bust through 4 of his infantry and then keep trying to swing down and just use my other units to hold right here. So for instance, I could come in, boom, or hang on. I could do an assault. Bam, 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 bam. Take out those 4 guys. I could be holding here with the Thracian warriors and slingers and just kite backwards while I continue to swing my Thracian nobles in. So that's one possibility, because again my opponent's gone for this formation, but bringing my Thracian nobles to bear before these Balearic slingers and velites are a lot more out of the way is going to be a major challenge for me, because my 6 Thracian slingers, I'm assuming, would get pretty well thrashed by the Balearic slingers on open ground. I don't know that for sure. His Balearic slingers are going to have some bonus from cover in the woods, but I am shooting into their flank. Unfortunately, it's the shielded flank. I am going to harass them. Again, I just want these guys to turn, to have to move, to reposition, and notice that I keep my men very, very close to the forest here at all times, for obvious reasons, because I need to keep them away from fire from his Balearic slingers. I finally managed to kill a few of them here while they turn around to run away from that engagement. So slowly but surely, just kind of picking my way to some sort of victory here. Now my opponent is probably less than pleased with my gameplay style here. There's a lot of folks online that if you do this to them, they are going to get very angry. Now my opponent did not type any displeasure or anything else in this match, so I don't want you to think that I'm inferring that. I'm just taking a guess. A lot of people really get irritated whenever you go into this skirmish heavy type of mode, but I don't have any options, at least not the way I see it. Thracian nobles are very good, but very expensive and very, very vulnerable to skirmishers. And so all the Roman has to do pretty much, and yes, they are walking fast because I haven't fast forward. I'm sneaking them up in the woods. Not that it really matters, but I'm going to go ahead and pull my Thracian warriors out of hiding. I'm going to try and bring an infantry center out here to see if the Roman will take the bait and come after my Thracian warriors. But this Roman that I've come up against here, very much true to like kind of a Caesar-esque type of style, apparently prefers to fight defensively and really does not wish to come after me, and who can blame him here? I've got slingers all over his flank. It's pretty common, you know, good tactics here to not just push forward whenever you know you got skirmishers all over your flank and there's infantry unaccounted for on the battlefield. So again, just saying my opponent's being very defensive, but I'm not saying it in a mean way. It makes sense here, and he probably should be. So I'm again going to use my slingers to be annoying, so from the edge of the woods I'm going to start unloading on his legionaries. Again, just want to try and pull him away, pull him out of formation, annoy him, cause what damage I can cause. This is not the best way for me to do things, but again, the more infantry of his that I'm able to kill, the better, because that means less work that my Thracian nobles have to do later on, and I've done a pretty decent amount of damage to these guys, even from firing head on. So they're down 15 men. Is it worth the ammo expended? I don't know. But again, notice how I'm always keeping my guys close. But, you know, letting this legionary get out right here is kind of dangerous for me because I don't have any good infantry to support. All I have is these crappy Dacian spears. And so I'm really glad my opponent didn't push that issue with more of his cav, because he really probably could have gotten the better of me over here. So that was kind of risky for me, and there's been multiple times where I leave my slingers in a great deal of risk. My opponent does just have one cav unit up here. It's that Suebi I you can see through the woods. They are better than my Thracian horsemen by a fair deal. So again, I'm surprised my opponent hasn't been more aggressive. I think he's very scared of my Thracian royal cav, which is lurking, and also my Thracian cavalry. I have to engage my opponent here because he did finally charge out towards my slingers. It was not what I wanted. I'm going to pull my own slingers back rather than shoot my guys in the back, and I'm going to bring my Thracian cav up to get a few javelins into the back of these Suebi I. I'm not going to get a ton of kills here, though, because there's a Roman cohort chasing me away. And I do get a few javelins in, and to be honest, the javelins are probably the only kills. And then fortunately for me, the Roman starts hurling Balearic slinger fire into the back of his own men. So he's going to probably cause a few casualties for me. And he turns the back of these legionaries to try and come into this fight. So I'm going to try and take the opportunity to javelin him in the back with my Thracian Cav, but I'm going to have to retreat from that. And he turned around, and I eat a volley of javelins. So absolutely brilliant. I accomplished nothing here other than getting my Thracian Cav all beat up and losing a Thracian Horseman. It's at this point I realized, good crap, as soon as his Cav beats my slingers, or my Cav, he should have gone straight for the slingers right here. Absolutely should be going for the slingers. Do not know what he is thinking, not going for the slingers right now. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, it's just like if he kills my slingers, this little game is over. And he had a very great opportunity to kill quite a few of them right there. But instead, he gets distracted by my Thracian Cav, which is still marauding in his back lines, and really can't do any damage. He's got Velites, he's got infantry, there's really nothing that it can do. He has brought his Balearic Slingers up during this time, and I've been exchanging fire with them. My guys are in the woods, his are not. His guys are downhill, mine are uphill. I have a lot of advantages here that's going to make this very disadvantageous for the Balearic Slingers, and it's allowing me to draw some of their fire, and then every time he turns around and retreats like this, I get a lot of kills, because my Slingers should fire into his back. Yeah, we're going to see that I've actually killed a pretty fair number of his Balearic Slingers in this unit, about 50 of them. So not bad considering that I've lost very few Thracian Slingers. Overall, that's gone very well for me. He's now using rapid reload too, which means these guys are going to get tired, but even with my guys uphill and in the woods, his Balearic Slingers are very good units, and I expect that they're going to be causing some nice damage to my men, and they are. So yeah, again, just using my Thracian Cav to be a nuisance. I realize that the timer is going to run out probably before I can win this, so I'm going to have to get aggressive because my opponent really doesn't feel the need to. I guess he is perfectly fine with going home with a draw. But hey, I'm the one that brought the skirmish heavy thing, so I understand that the burden's kind of on me to get it done. And to be honest, the 20-minute time limit's kind of annoying because it really does take away skirmishing as a viable option. Now, some players would be like, good, I hate that crap. Whenever someone runs around all over the map shooting at me and there's nothing I can do about it. A lot of people do hate it, and like I said, you're definitely going to garner some hate for trying stuff like this, and some of you may even get mad at me in the comments. It's okay. It's just the only game style I could think of where I might be able to gain some type of advantage as the Thracians. So here, I send in this Thracian Cav just to turn his Balearics around while I was firing at them. But at the same time, I didn't really get a whole lot, and I let my Thracian Cav run too close, and my opponent did not have his pillar on fire at will. Thank goodness for me. And I actually killed some of his Balearic Slingers, so I decided to turn out of there at that point. And he's moved a Velite up here to this flank as well, and he's keeping an eye on my Thracian Cav. And so here's what I'm going to do to engage. I'm going to sacrifice what's left of this unit to get the Velites to not fire, and I'm going to bring my Thracian Royals downhill. And the downhill charge ought to be absolutely devastating. Fortunately, I believe... I thought these guys were resistant to cold, but they are not. But they have done very well as far as their stamina because they have been all over the map. Anyway, my opponent is trying to push me over here, but there's nothing to push, and I'm not going to let him have anything, so my slingers are just going to kite away from him. I've gotten a pretty fair number of kills on this unit. It's down to 96 men, so my Thracian Cavalry gets in here, does exactly what I want it to the Velites. It ends up wrecking them, and then here my Thracian nobles are going to get a brilliant downhill charge. They do take some Roman Pilla, but because my opponent hasn't turned more infantry to face me, he's just going to get absolutely slaughtered on a downhill charge by probably the unit with the most powerful infantry charge in the game outside of Ariovistus and special abilities. So yeah, my Thracian nobles are just going to shred these Romans. And now my opponent is going to have to, he's going to have to turn infantry to face, and what I'm hoping is that as he tries to come uphill, one by one I'll just slam into him with Thracian nobles and beat him all downhill. So over time, I tried to use this time which I was skirmishing to get my infantry in a position where they might have a prayer, because if they get one good initial charge and then just get bogged down by Roman infantry or hit by skirmishers, they will lose. But my guys are taking very few losses to the skirmishers. They're having to fire uphill through the backs of their own men. My men are getting fantastic charges, and these Thracian nobles are already over, let's see, almost up to 150 kills. They just shredded through one unit and are into another. Roman bodyguard is running away, and again, see how I've just kited away the Romans over here, and again, I'm sure that my opponent's getting very sick of this, and who can blame him? I'm now piecemeal picking apart his flank. But it's looking pretty good for me. I think I can finish this battle. But it's at this point that my opponent decides, hey, so you didn't engage me for a long time, so see if I engage you. And he's just going to order all of his troops to run all the way back here to the back of the map and run away from me. Which, as you can see from the timer, is most likely going to force a draw. Now, I don't like this, but at the same time, I brought the annoying tactics, so I guess I have to live with it. Yeah, so cavalry's good against Thracian nobles, right? Wrong. My guys didn't even get a charge here, and look what they do to these guys. So yes, cavalry to counter Thracian nobles. No. That's the only answer to that, unless it's a rear charge from heavy shock cav. So yep, the run order has been given. See my opponent, he's going to run clear back here to the red line. I think that, again, I can only guess, I don't live inside his head, that his mentality at this point is, okay, I'm just going to run away from you and deny you the victory. So that's the only thing I can imagine at this point, which I'm not going to lie is a little irritating, but since I used an irritating strategy, I'm going to tolerate it and just do my best to get as many kills as I can. That way I don't really care what the screen says. Screen may say a draw, but the stats will say otherwise, and that's what I'm going for at this point. Is I'm going to get as many Romans dead as possible, so that even though the screen says a draw, there's no argument about who is going to win this battle. Now, is winning everything? You're being too hardcore. No, it's not like it's super important, but it's like, hey, I came in here and I skirmished for that long. You're darn right I want at least some stats or something out of it. I'm not a very patient person, and skirmishing's not my favorite way to play the game. So you're darn right, I would love to get some stats out of it. Now, these Thracian nobles didn't get the best charge, and these legionaries would actually kill quite a few of them. But if you'll notice, I'm bringing in my Thracian royal cav here, and this is going to be a brilliant rear charge from a very powerful cav unit. So the Thracian royal cav there is going to just absolutely annihilate the Roman legionaries here. Oh, so pretty. No better picturesque setting, I guess, for killing Romans. So yeah, my Thracian royal cav getting in on the action, and this Thracian noble here up to 116 kills. We've got 193 on that one. These others haven't even gotten a chance to engage, and again, my opponent's just going to run. I don't have a ton of cavalry to stop him with. I've got this depleted Thracian cav and then my general, and I'm going to use my general here to slow the Romans down, so if they want to turn their backs to me, I'm more than happy to put a lance in their spine, or in this case, I guess a standard spear in their spine. Roman dogs deserve it. Don't turn your back to the Odrysian kingdom. Not very nice etiquette. So yeah, you can see that I'm just doing this to slow the Romans down, and then I'm going to engage them. And I've got all my slingers with attack orders under the back of the Romans too, so that I should be picking off a few Romans along the way as well. That's the goal, at least. So yeah, these Romans here are getting slowed down by my Thracian royal cav, but they're going to start trying to run away again and try and stay ahead of my infantry, so I'm going to turn around and charge them again with my Thracian royal cav. It was kind of irritating that the battle went this way. Again, I'm not going to sit here and really give my opponent a hard time because I used a strategy that most people consider to be dishonorable. I don't see how it is whenever you're taking a faction like I did. It's kind of what you have to do sometimes to have a prayer, because just an onslaught of infantry on infantry, I don't see that going well for the Odrysian kingdom because they can't afford enough nobles to really make that work. And the nobles are also a lot easier to counter. But in any case, now the Romans are stuck here, they're going to have to take this engagement. My Thracian nobles ready to get some more blood on their Romphia, and these Romans are actually still chasing my cavalry and take a nasty rear charge from my Thracian nobles, who are going to cut many Romans in half, no doubt. Too bad that wasn't animated into the game, because that would be entertaining. So these Romans are dead meat, and I'm now up to almost 200 kills on that unit. And again, just trying to get the Romans to turn around. So going to be annoying with my cav because I really want to get into some more combat before the timer runs out. I've only got a minute left, and again, looking to pad that kill number a little more. I've got some nice downhill charges incoming from my Thracian royal cav, who's way up on that hill. And honestly, the charge mechanics in this game, just like the physical interaction between the two units, is kind of odd. You would think a charge like this would just be utterly and absolutely devastating. And don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but just see how it kind of works, like the way the units come in. I don't get as much devastation here as I'd like, but there's my slingers firing it. Oh, that Roman got chucked. Never mind, that was worth it. So yeah, these Romans don't take a particularly large amount of damage because they hadn't lost any hit points or anything yet. It mostly just knocks them over, and then my slingers start shooting him in the back. So really softening these guys up for an infantry engagement. And I am very close to catching them, but the battle is probably going to end before I even get into them. But again, my slingers are going to be able to get just a few kills, and then I'll just let my Thracian royal cav duke it out at this point. The Roman continues to try and run because he knows the doom that awaits him from these Thracian nobles. My guys are tired. His are probably getting tired as well. So anyway, my opponent forces the draw, which again I wasn't real thrilled about. But as you can see from the kill screen here, that was clearly going in my favor, and my opponent had very little left to be able to turn it around. His velites could have potentially been painful to my Thracian nobles, but he even had a cav unit around, but I had some cav around as well. Could have potentially gotten to his velites. He did not do well with his Balearic slingers. If you look at the number of kills that I got on my slingers, which were much cheaper, you can see that mine were a lot more cost-effective in general. Never even got to engage most of my units, but the Thracian nobles that I did engage, I picked the engagements for them very carefully, and it was very worthwhile. And then this Thracian Royal Cav got a lot of high-quality kills here. Those were all Roman heavy infantry, so I feel like those kills were very worth it as well. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this battle. So I guess this will be the continuation of Underdog Week. So honestly, I feel like this was a victory for the Odrysian kingdom. But anyway, again, hope you enjoyed it. I will be back with more Underdog footage soon. Heir of Carthage, signing out for now.